The New England Patriots actually looked more like the Omegas than the Deltas in their Week 10 victory over the Chicago Bears. But who made it to the head of the class? Stick around. You're about to be locked in to the Locked On Patriots podcast.
You are Locked On Patriots, your daily New England Patriots podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello to all of you Foxborough faithful. Thank you once again for making Locked On Patriots a daily part of your New England Patriots coverage. I'm your host, Mike Debate. I cover your New England Patriots for Patriots Country. So reach out to me and let me know what's on your mind on X at MDABATE NFL. While you're out there showing some love to Locked On Patriots social media style, follow our account on X as well at LO_Patriots. And Pats fans, today's episode is brought to you by Ultimate GM. Use the promo code Locked On NFL, all caps, inside the game store to receive a free boost to your franchise. And Pats fans, even though it's a Tuesday, we continue to bask in the glow of the New England Patriots' 19-3 victory over the Chicago Bears at Soldier Field in the Windy City on Sunday. Drake Maye leading 5 scoring drives. The New England Patriots defense sacking quarterback Caleb Williams 9 times. And of course, New England improving their record to 3-7 on the season after losing 7 of their last 8. And folks, if you think that is a reason to celebrate, you're not alone. A lot of Patriots fans are feeling pretty good about this win. Yeah, they've earned some well-deserved kudos that they haven't received in quite some time. That's right. It's time for the New England Patriots grade report. And if we're talking grades, you know we're talking our Patriots professor. Just happens to be my Patriots paisan as well, columnist extraordinaire at PatsFans.com, as well as being the co-host of another amazing Patriots podcast, Patriots 4th and 2, my good buddy, Steve Balestrieri. Steve, thank you for joining me today and welcome back to the pod, my friend.
Always a pleasure. You know that. And, you know, as we said last week, wouldn't it be nice to be talking about a Patriots win, you know, this coming Tuesday? And here we are.
Absolutely. It is great to be talking about a Patriots victory. And it really, I think, Steve, is starting to give way to some light at the end of the tunnel for the New England Patriots. For so long, we've been hearing about potential, if they can put it all together, if only they had this piece in place. I think a lot of Pats fans are starting to see the pieces of the puzzle start to fit together. There's still some needed, and there's still a lot of work to be done before this is a finished product. But right now, it's hard not to be excited by what you see in seedlings from a great number of players on this team. And we'll start there, Bud, because you're ready to get your grade report out. Putting on your Dean Wormer cap for a minute here, we're going to grade the New England Patriots. We'll start on the offensive side of the ball. And Drake Maye. Yesterday, I started the program by talking about how Drake Maye earned his first start-to-finish victory on Sunday. I know he gets credit for the Jets win, but in a lot of ways, people are taking a look at that and saying, well, okay, he only played a portion of the game, gave way to Jacoby Brissett. This was really Drake's first wire-to-wire win. And in a lot of ways, I think the Patriots played directly into Drake's strengths. They allowed him the off-script ability to make plays happen. We saw him do it several times, but it was a strong running game. Play action allowed him to be at his best. Drake went 4 of 6 out of play action, 71 yards, a touchdown, an interception that we won't mention until a little bit later. But right now, we'll focus on the positive. Patriots fans were excited by what they saw from Drake Maye on Sunday. But I put it to you, Professor. How would you grade Drake Maye's performance against the Bears this past week?
Well, he didn't start off well. You know,
Good point.
We saw that. He had that interception that was, you know, he said he was trying to throw it away, but I think he got kind of caught in no man's land. He was originally going to throw it away. Then he was thinking, maybe I can float this one over the top, and he threw it right to the linebacker. And it was ugly. I mean, you know, we would say that for any other quarterback. You know, but then the way he finished, and especially, you know, the end of the first half, right? They got aggressive. They went down and scored twice. And, you know, at the end, with less than 2 minutes to go in the first half. And I just thought, hey, you know what? this is starting to come together. And don't get me wrong, there's still a long way away, but you can see the pieces coming together. And it really helps when you see the Patriots offense with Drake when they have a running game going. And it wasn't a great running game, but it was good enough. And when you see that going, now you can see how AVP likes to blend into play action and things like that. But I wrote in my piece that I think most impressive this week is this is now his team.
Yeah.
And you got the feeling of that, watching the game, how the players react to him, how he's so cool. And then, we heard about after Wednesday's practice, it didn't go well. And Maye, asked AVP if he could address the team. And, when you're a 22-year-old rookie, that has to be a daunting thing to get
Very
up.
much so.
You guys, right? Who they've all, a lot of these guys have been in the league a long time, and you're going to talk to them. But you know what? The players loved it because I think they feel like he's starting to take that control, right? This is now his team. Demario Douglas, he said, I couldn't do that. And I get nervous and start sweating. So Jalen Polk said, everybody loved it. And you know what? After that, they had two of their best practices of the year, according to insiders. And then they came out and they played their best football game of the year because this was a complete win, complete game win, complete team win. And I think it all starts with your quarterback. So even though he got a C on the day, he gets an A+ for in the locker room.
Yeah, without question. And I'm glad that you made the distinction there because, look, bottom line, a 22-year-old quarterback having to address a room full of veterans, full of grown football players, guys that have been doing this for a number of years, you hit the nail right on the head. It's a daunting task. But in order for that quarterback to be able to earn the respect of his team, to be able to capture not just their attention on the field, but also their attention off of it, and really make you feel like this is a guy I have to play for. This is a guy I want to play for. This is a guy I want to succeed for. You need those moments. As a quarterback, you need those moments. You need to do that, and you need to do it early. And Drake Maye stepping into that role as soon as he has is definitely a good sign that this is a guy you want to build around. This is a guy you want to continue to cultivate, and you want to make sure that he's your centerpiece for many years to come. So I agree with you. He didn't have the greatest start in the world. There's no question about it. But he did rebound nicely. He did come back, and I think he played a solid second half of football, or maybe even a little bit earlier into the first half. I think he gave it everything he had and showed that even when he's struggling, this is someone that can dial it up, pull back, and he can give you his best effort, even when you don't think he has it in him. The great ones do that, and you saw Drake Maye do that on Sunday. I'm not saying that automatically anoints him into a great one role, folks, but I think you can see the potential there, and right now, potential is something I know Patriots fans are excited for when it comes to Drake Maye. But it wasn't all about the quarterback improvement, Steve. Running game came out looking for an improved performance, and they got it. Ramondre Stevenson rushing 20 times for 74 yards. This offensive line, I thought, did a much better job blocking for the run, pass protecting. This is a unit that now looks to have found its, I don't want to say rhythm because I don't think they've found that yet, but I think they found a reliable five that they're looking to utilize throughout this season. And the pass catchers are starting to show right now that they can make plays happen when given the opportunity. How would you grade the rest of the offensive performance on Sunday, Steve?
Yeah, real quick. The running backs, I gave them a B-. I thought they rebounded so well from last week. Ramondre was the workhorse with 20 carries, like you said, 74 really tough yards, right?
Absolutely.
The Bears defense is no joke, and I just love the physicality, right? Jermichael Hasty, he had 6 carries for 20 yards, but I loved, late in the game, Antonio Gibson comes in and plays the role of closer a little bit, I mean, he didn't blow anybody away, but 5 carries, 26 yards. I mean, that's a good way to come in, late in the game when you want to put it away and you give Ramondre a little bit of a breather. I love that. So I thought, yeah, they weren't great, but they were getting it done. And, it was so nice to see a complimentary game where they had a decent running game going. I mean, the running backs rushed for what was it, 120 yards, right? And then, it opened up things for him in the passing game. And I thought that was really, really good. The wide receivers, I gave them a C. I mean, Demario Douglas and Keyshawn Boutte were the only ones that had multiple targets. But I thought both of those guys had a pretty good game. Boutte was targeted 6 times, had 4 for 47. Pretty nice numbers. That 23-yarder he got was really nice. Douglas was targeted 5 times, 4 catches for 50 yards. I thought he was really good. KJ Osborne had that one target at first when I saw it. I thought he scored a touchdown. And then they said he had stepped out prior to the ball getting there. They didn't really show that on the game I was watching, but the referee had thrown his hat down, so I think you can't argue with that one. And Jalen Polk, he only targeted once. He only caught 1 pass for 2 yards, but it was a big one.
It was a big one.
Touchdown.
Yep. It was one that counted. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I'm hoping, like Gerard Mayo said after the game, maybe this is the start of something big for this kid. And he got to kind of monkey off his back a little bit. He catches the touchdown. Let's hope that that's a sign for better things. Tight ends, once again, very reliable. They grade a B. Austin Hooper, I thought, was outstanding in this game. That 28-yarder he caught from Drake, what a throw and catch.
Yeah.
I thought that was beautiful. Hunter Henry had a kind of a quiet game, but those guys blocked their tails off.
Yeah,
and,
they did.
I didn't write that in my piece there, but it should have been added in there because those guys, that was some of the best blocking I've seen out of them. And offensive line, I almost had to stop myself. They got a B-. They went back to the starting 5 that they played in week 6 and week 8. And again, I thought the pass protection was pretty darn good against a good Bears defense. And the running game. I mean, they didn't blow the Bears away, but I thought they were the much more physical team that was able to assert their will where the Bears were not. So the offensive line, I mean, they get high marks this week, because we grade them on a week-to-week basis. And those guys have to be feeling pretty good about themselves right now.
Yeah, absolutely. When you take a look at what the O-line did in terms of pass protection and especially in terms of run blocking and allowing this running game to get going, yeah, they deserve pretty high marks for the job that they did. And I did give them a tip of the cap yesterday in a unit that really has been much maligned and rightfully so at times. But we give credit where credit is due. These guys are stepping up and they're playing big time football and they deserve an awful lot of credit for that. I agree with you on the receivers. I think there's some growth. I think there's some opportunity still for some of the guys on this team. Like what you said about tight ends, Hunter did have kind of a quiet game on Sunday, but don't forget, you're drawing away defenders and whatnot. It allows guys like Austin Hooper to make plays. And Hooper drove the boat, Steve, on Sunday without any question.
Good boat.
He did not have city hands, Steve. He had sure hands, 3 catches. 64 yards, but all kidding aside, Mr. Hooper. But all kidding aside, I think he really did have a very good game and showed that he can be a solid complement in that tight endage game for the New England Patriots. So, bottom line, folks, high grades for the New England Patriots offense, and deservedly so. Played one of their best games of the year on Sunday, but still. This Patriots offense, I believe, was overshadowed by the defense, who really showed up to play on Sunday. Great scheming, great game planning, solid play in all three phases. But what does our professor have to say about the Patriots' performance on defense? We're going to talk about that Patriots' defensive performance against the Bears when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast continues, a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Hey, Pats fans, remember our great partner, Ultimate Pro Football GM? Well, they're back, and they've added an amazing new game mode I can't wait to tell you about. The game that has you step into the shoes of a football franchise GM and lead it to glory now has a new head coach career mode. So on top of getting to build your dynasty by drafting players, signing free agents, and hiring a coaching staff, now also gives you the chance to get to call offensive plays during games as well. Additionally, you'll dig the new tools you can work with, such as individual training camps and an upgraded negotiation system. So this fun and realistic game just got a whole lot better. If you have already installed, be sure to do an update so you can try out the new mode. If you don't have it yet, download it right now. It's a must-have for all football fans. I love it, and I know you will too. Ultimate Pro Football GM is completely free, has no ads, and is 100% playable offline, so you can play on the go as you want and when you want to. And here's a special offer for Locked On fans. Use the promo code LOCKEDON NFL, all caps, inside the game store to receive a free boost to your franchise. Make sure to get it, as this perk will jumpstart your play and give you the advantage you'll want in creating a new dynasty. To download the game, just visit ultimate-gm.com, ultimate-gm.com, or look it up on the app stores. Ultimate Pro Football GM. Start your dynasty today. Locked On listeners, get ready to tackle NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Let your New England fandom work for you by visiting FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win with your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Patriots fans, thank you once again for joining us here today on Locked On Patriots, and all of you everydayers out there for making us your first listen each and every day. If you have done so, a tip of the cap, a major thanks to all of you, and we encourage you now to make your second listen our good friends over at Locked On NFL. All the major storylines all across the NFL Shield. So, folks, be sure to download, subscribe to, and follow Locked On NFL wherever you get your podcasts, just like Locked On Patriots. They're a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And, folks, speaking of your team, we are grading your team, your favorite team in Foxborough, the New England Patriots. And here to provide his grade report as he does each and every week here on Locked On is my Patriots Paisan, our Patriots Professor, my good friend Steve Balestrieri. And Steve, in the previous segment, we talked about surprisingly high grades for the New England Patriots offense across the board. Some more deserving of higher grades than others, but overall a solid performance. Well, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't say that the defense may have stolen the show. As good as the offense played, the defense was, in my humble opinion, just that much better. Great effort on the defensive line, great effort from the linebackers, great effort from the secondary, but you're our Patriots professor. You are essentially responsible for pulling this unit out of double secret probation. So, Steve, when you open up that grade report, let's start with the defensive line. How would you grade the performance of this D-line against that Bears offense on Sunday?
And I prefaced my column with this. We all know the Bears offensive line was beat up, right? They were missing their 2 tackles. And so we all know that. But I'm also going to say, when people were piling on the Patriots early in the season, I didn't see anyone say, yeah, but New England's offensive line is banged up, right? So with that, I'm going to say the Patriots defensive line dominated this one. I mean, two things come to mind. They allowed less than 100 yards rushing for the first time since the Seattle game in week 2. Only 73 yards and a 3.7 yard average. The longest run of the day was only 10 yards, and that was on a scramble from Williams. And then you pile up the sacks that the defensive line had. Farms had 3 tackles for loss, a sack, and a quarterback hit. Keon White, a sack, 2 tackles for loss, 2 quarterback hits, and a sack. Dietrich Wise, 2 sacks, 2 quarterback hits, a tackle for a loss, and a pass defense. Roy had a sack. I mean, when you're getting that kind of, production out of your defensive line, you were winning the day, my friend, because the Patriots,
absolutely,
I mean, they don't have like a 4-man front that, attacks and all this stuff. They have 3 big guys in the middle and with the outside linebackers. I thought the defensive line had an outstanding game.
You mentioned a solid defensive effort throughout, and I'm going to give you an opportunity to wax poetically on a position I know you love to break down. And I also know there's a player on here who's going to be getting his laurels, and well-deserved. But tell us about the linebackers. Tell us about Jelani Tavai. But, Steve, tell us about Anthony Jennings.
Yeah. Jelani Tavai, I mean, to me, he's been disappointing this year, but he had a great game last week. I thought he had another outstanding game this week. 9 tackles, a sack, tackle for loss, pass defense, quarterback hit. I mean, he was filling those holes like we expected him to, this year. And, this is 2 really good games in a row for him, which is very, very, optimistic sounding, right? He's starting to stack the good games together. But my player of the game, as you know, Anthony Jennings. I've been touting this guy's horn since he was drafted. I thought he had his best game of the year, possibly as a pro. He set the edge like he always does. But, with Uche gone, the team asked him to step up a little bit, right, in pass rush. Well, he was outstanding on Sunday. He had 4 tackles, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, 3 quarterback hits. He was just wreaking havoc back there. And I love to see it. I'm a big Jennings fan. So watching him just tear apart, the Bears, granted backups. But, the front 7 had one of the best games that they've had in the last 2 years, I think. They held the Bears to just 3 points, 142 total yards. And, that's a very talented skill position team, on Chicago. They're no slouches in the skill position. And the fact that the Patriots were able to hold them to 3 points, total domination.
Yeah, without question. And, the Pats needed a game like this, especially when you're facing an exciting, mobile, young quarterback like Caleb Williams, who's coming in with all the pedigree. He's coming in with a lot of the accolades. He's the number 1 overall pick. He's got weapons at his disposal. The Chicago Bears definitely have no shortage of pass-catching talent, whether it be Rome Odunze, whether it be Keenan Allen, whether it be DJ Moore, Cole Kmet. All of these guys can make things happen. You also have DeAndre Swift running the ball. That's not exactly a bad, fallback option when it comes to the running game. So many weapons around him. And for the Patriots front 7 to step up and to prevent anything from happening right from the snap is always a sign that this Patriots defense came in with a solid game plan. And you want to credit DeMarcus Covington for doing a great job with getting this front 7 ready. And Steve, we also don't want to neglect the secondary, because in a game like this where you hold a team to 3 points, it's so easy to fall in love with the job that the defensive line or the front 7 does. And they deserve all the credit we've given them. But This secondary was helped by the fearsome pass rush that we saw, but it also did things on its own in order to be able to stamp their ticket for, I think, a much improved grade this week. How would you grade this secondary for their performance?
Yeah, the secondary rated an A minus, I think, on Sunday. As you said, it's amazing to see how sticky they can be when they don't have to cover for 6 seconds, right?
Mm,
That's a
exactly.
big thing, but I thought Christian Gonzalez, Jonathan, Marcus Jones, I thought, they all had really solid games. And again, I mean, you just mentioned all their skill position guys. I mean, Keenan Allen was their top wide receiver, 5 catches, 44 yards. Longest pass play was 18 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Roma Dunze was definitely held in check. I mean, and then added the coaches added a wrinkle. They put Brendan Schooler out on defense as a spy for Williams.
Yep.
And and you could see that Schooler was like a kid at Christmas.
Oh,
He
yeah.
was loving that. And he
Absolutely so.
responded. He had a sack and 2 quarterback hits on 5 defensive snaps. That's not bad. When you're looking at pass rush win rate, I guess that's pretty darn good, right?
Yeah, without question. And Steve and I are going to finish up this grade report for the New England Patriots and take an early look at the Rams when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast wraps up right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Locked On listeners, we've all been there. You want tickets to the big game on the gridiron, or maybe you want to check out some early action on the hardwood or on the ice, or simply be there when your favorite music or comedy act comes to town. Well, Game Time is your best destination to help you make your memories. Game Time is the fastest and easiest method I've ever used to buy tickets. And Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out all of the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. I especially love their zone deals where you pick the section and Game Time picks the seats for big savings. So don't delay, do it today. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDON NFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. So again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDON NFL. That's LOCKEDON NFL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. Patriots fans, thank you once again for joining us here today on Locked On Patriots. It is Tuesday. It is grade report day. And if it's grade report day, you know our Patriots Professor is joining us, our good friend, legendary writer of PatsFans.com, my Patriots Paisan, Steve Balestrieri. Steve, we talked about the New England Patriots grading on offense and on defense, and for the most part, pretty high grades, especially for the defense. I thought a solid effort in all 3 levels. Offense showed an awful lot of improvement, but if there is a unit along this New England Patriots roster or organization right now that has taken its share of criticism, I would probably say it's the coaching staff. From Drake Maye to the coordinators to the positional coaches, there have been a lot of people second, third, and fourth guessing a lot of what we've seen in Foxborough this year. However, I think on Sunday, this game proved that the coaches that are in place right now not only heard the criticism, not only heeded the criticism, but they also looked at it as an opportunity to grow and to show what they can currently do. It doesn't automatically fix all the problems, and it's not going to absolve them from their previous sins or any that they may commit in the future. But for one day on Sunday, I thought this unit put it together pretty well. If you're grading the coaches, before we put the grade report away and take an early look at the Los Angeles Rams this week in Week 11, how would you grade this coaching staff against the Bears this week?
I think the coaching staff deserves an A minus, right? I wrote the first sentence I wrote under the coaches that the coaching staff pantsed the Bears staff, and they did. I mean, as much as we've been maligning the decisions and, just the sloppy play. They put it together on Sunday. We'll see if this is, one of those things where they start to build things, right? If they can, come up with another good game plan. Now, we know that, it's going to be tough this week, but we'll get to that.
Mm.
But, the defense, I saw them getting creative. Again, it wasn't rocket science. As you said, it's not something that other people haven't done in the past, but the fact that they installed it and it worked and they kept going with it, it's like, hey, you know what? This is good. Keep doing stuff like this.
Right.
And what I really loved was Alex Van Pelt, right? For the first time, I thought the offense got aggressive, at the end of the half. They scored 10 points in the last minute 46 that put them up at 13-3 at the break. I was thinking, unless there's some kind of catastrophe because of the way the defense was playing, that they're going to win this football game. And when you can go on the road and beat a team in their building by holding them to 3 points, again, I mean, kudos for the defense, kudos for the offense. I just think, they did a fantastic job. They had a great game plan. And for the most part, they executed it with very little hiccups. Now, some of the red zone stuff, they weren't very successful at. But I think the way the game was going, they didn't want to take any chances of, possibly giving the Bears some life down there. So they played it safe. They kicked some field goals. You want to see more touchdowns, obviously, in there. But I think the way the defense was playing, they weren't concerned about it as much. We'll see what happens on Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very well said. And look, the things that you want to see from this coaching staff that we hadn't seen previously: creativity, adjustments, and you also want to see aggression. And I think we saw all three of those on Sunday. Creativity, we talked about the Longhorn. That's definitely something that threw a wrinkle into the Chicago Bears' plans, and I think in a lot of ways caught Caleb Williams off guard. And he's already playing a little bit gun shy, a little bit scared because of the offensive line in front of him. So it was smart to keep him on his heels in that regard. When you look at adjustments, you do see that the Patriots adjusted the way that they played the final moments of the second half. This is a team that had been ultra conservative, maybe even too conservative in their playing, and led a lot of Patriots fans to believe that they just didn't have any type of confidence in the unit they had on the field to get something done in the final few moments. It also ties into aggression because Alex Van Pelt showed both of those. He adjusted the style that he had from previous weeks and actually try to keep this team on its heels and make sure that we put maximum points on the board and not necessarily worry about being too overprotective. Throwing caution to the wind sometimes can be a good liberating experience for a coaching staff. And I think you saw that on Sunday. So again, a tip of the cap to the coaching staff. They haven't gotten many of those this year yet, folks, but they will continue, hopefully, to turn the corner. And of course, it all comes back to the head coach and Gerard Mayo, who's been under fire a lot more than he's been praised this season. Good to see him get a moment, especially a big time road victory. So good on the coaching staff, Steve. But the task is not going to get any easier with the Los Angeles Rams coming into town, coming in at 4-5. This is a team right now that is playing in a tough division. Let's say, call it for what it is. Seattle Seahawks, Arizona Cardinals, San Francisco 49ers. They're all capable teams. But at the same time, you look at this club coming in, maybe they don't have as much of the star power as they once had, but you're still looking at Matthew Stafford as the quarterback. Kyron Williams can still be an effective running back. Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, these guys can make plays when they need to. On defense, they still have guys like Turner and Fisk and Young. They can make things happen when they need to. If you're the coaching staff and you're looking at this Rams team and you're looking at what you did on Sunday against the Bears, what are you trying to maintain? What are you trying to improve when the Rams come to town?
Well, I think the coaching staff has to take a long, long look. And that was one of the good things about Monday Night Football this week, right? The
Mhm.
Patriots got to sit at home as a team, watch their next two opponents, and you're seeing what works for that team, what wasn't working, and
Right.
how you can, you know, game plan against each of them. And don't forget the Rams. I mean, they had, I thought, a very subpar effort for them. I was not
Mm.
impressed with them at all last night. Defensively, I thought they were fine, but offensively, I was like, "Where's all the juice on this team?"
Right.
And now they have a short week because they played on Monday night, and they have to make the trip all the way to the East Coast. So that might play in the Patriots' favor. But yeah, I'd be watching those games,
Mm.
seeing what you can work, what the other team was doing to each other in these next two games, especially the Rams. Um, I think what they have to do is try to maintain that balance. Okay. Um, because we saw Alex Van Pelt's offense really for the first time this year.
Mhm. Right.
Because they had a decent running game. They were able to do play action, and you saw the pieces starting to come together. I think they still have a ways to go with that. We're not saying they're out of the woods by any stretch of the imagination, but we're seeing signs of it coming together.
Mm.
And I think that's the most important thing on Sunday is keep that going defensively. Um, if they can play as aggressive and as well as they did against Chicago, the defense will keep them in this game.
Buddy, what can I say? Thank you so much for coming by, for lending your wisdom, your counsel, and of course, your grade report, which we look forward to each and every week. Before I let you go, please let everyone know where our listeners can reach out to you, interact with you, and what you got marinating in La Cucina Balestrieri between now and next week when you come back to grade Patriots Rams.
Well, and always thanks for having me. I love these chats we have about football. I miss being up there and doing it in person with you, but
Absolutely.
we have to play the hand that we're dealt. So, but you can follow me on Twitter at Steve B7SFG or X, whatever you want to call it. Other social media at Steve Balestrieri. I write for PatsFans.com. In fact, today is a very busy day here. So we're doing Locked On Tuesday afternoon. Tonight at 8 o'clock, I'm doing a podcast with the South Florida Tribune called Inside the Pigskin. So I'll be on that show tonight. We'll be talking about Sunday's games. And then at later tonight, at a little after 9 o'clock, we're doing our Patriots 4th and 2 show. So this is going to be a very busy day. But you know what? It's fun to talk about a Patriots win.
Absolutely. And we are truly blessed to be able to do something we love to do for a living, Steve. So check Steve out on all those platforms, folks, especially Patriots 4th and 2. We look forward to having Patriots 4th and 2 invade Locked On very shortly. We're working out the details on that, folks. So stay tuned for that. You're not going to want to miss it. But bottom line, anytime my good friend puts pen to paper, voice to microphone, appointment listening, appointment viewing, you're more informed, you're more entertained, and that's all you can ask for in this business. And he is one of the best in the business, not just from a professional standpoint, but also from a personal standpoint. And on a personal note, we may be one day late, but I'd be remiss if I did not give you a significant tip of the cap and a thank you and wish you a belated happy Veterans Day. Thank you, my friend, for the service you provided to this country. We are forever in your debt. So thank you for all of that. And we continue to honor you here on Locked On Patriots as often as we can. Folks, thank you all for making Locked On Patriots a part of your daily New England Patriots coverage today. And don't forget, our coverage of Patriots Rams is just kicking off, including this week's crossover episode with our good friends at Locked On Rams. So download, subscribe to follow. You're not going to want to miss a single second of the action. But in the meantime, I want to thank my good friend Steve Balestrieri for dropping by today. And of course, folks, I'm Mike Debate. I remind you all to stay safe, to stay well, to be the change you wish to see in the world. Have a great day, everyone, and we'll see you back here again tomorrow on Locked On Patriots.